decisive meeting. And from them you want what, sir?
I want victory. I want a war plan.
My message is for everybody who wears the uniform, get ready. The United States will do what it takes.
He was encouraging us to think boldly. He was listening to all ideas. He was not constrained to any one idea. He wanted to hear his advisors talk and argue and debate with each other.
Scott, we've never fought a war like this. This is a different kind of war. It's unique. The coalition was coming together. The Secretary of Defense put into place a full-scale military operation to hold the Taliban accountable. The CIA intelligence gathering was honing in. So there was progress made. I was pleased with the progress. On the other hand, I wanted to start clarifying plans, and I went around the room and asked everybody what they thought ought to happen.
When you left that meeting on Saturday night, you didn't tell them what you wanted to do.
No, I didn't. I wanted to just think it through. This was, anytime you commit our troops to harm's way, there's a president must make sure that he fully understands all the consequences and ramifications, and I wanted to just spend some time on it alone, and did.
And your last reservations that you had to clear up in your own mind were what?
Could we win? I don't want to be putting our troops in there unless I'm certain we could win. And I was certain we could win.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
9 days after the attack on America, before a joint session of Congress, the President committed the nation to the war on terror.
Each of us will remember what happened that day and to whom it happened. We'll remember the moment the news came, where we were and what we were doing. Some will remember an image of a fire or a story of rescue. Some will carry memories of a face and a voice gone forever. And I will carry this. It is the police shield of a man named George Howard, who died at the World Trade Center trying to save others. It was given to me by his mom, Arlene, as a proud memorial to her son. It is my reminder of lives that ended and a task that does not end.
A year has passed since that September. At the White House recently, the President told us his job now is to remind Americans that the nation is still at war. A war he reminds himself of every day in the Oval Office, literally keeping score, one terrorist at a time. I'm told that right in your desk you actually keep a scorecard.
Actually, I have a classified document that might have some pictures on there, just to keep reminding me about who's out there and where they might be.
And you check them off as they go?
Well, I might put a little check on there, yeah.
But there's no check by the name that must be on the top of that list. When we come back, Mr. Bush talks about the hunt for Osama bin Laden.
You can log on to CBSNews.com to see a video timeline of the president's story.
Changing Lanes on DVD.
Don't leave me out here. Better luck next time.
An ambitious attorney, a desperate father, Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Affleck.
Good. The computer says you're bankrupt.
See what I can do to you?
Changing Lanes on DVD with must-see extras. Buy it today.
If you own a house, mobile home, or other structure purchased after September 12, 1999 that contains polybutylene pipe with plastic or metal insert fittings, you may be entitled to free replacement of your plumbing if it has leaked or leaks in the future. The plumbing must have been installed between January 1st, 1978 and July 31st, 1995. Call 1-800-392-7591 or visit pbpipe.com for information about your legal rights.
Tonight on an all-new Late Show.
What did we really learn from September 11th?
Join Dave with special guest former President Bill Clinton.
I'm going to ask you some questions here, and I'm sure the answers will be more things I don't understand.
Bill Clinton and Dave share their thoughts on 9/11.
Our differences matter. They're really important. But our common humanity matters more.
Tonight.
This is CBS.
How will we remember them? Work a soup kitchen for John Perry. Plant trees for Tuan Pham. Fill a library with books for Hilda Taylor. Donate musical instruments for Irvin Gaylord, who loved jazz. Start a food drive in honor of Michael Esposito.
Unity in the Spirit of America is a volunteer program to honor each American lost September 11th. Find out how you can help in your community.
Let's build a playground for Juliana McCourt.
Hogs, choppers, street bikes, and custom motorcycles like these will be roaring and running.
It's the 9th annual American Red Cross Motorcycle Rally, September 20th to the 22nd.
Join News Channel 7 of the Piedmont and Upstate American Red Cross beginning Friday as monster bikes peel the asphalt in the drag race.
And on Saturday, enjoy live entertainment here at BMW in Greer, featuring Molly Hatchet and other artists.
And Sunday, cruise the countryside in the $4,000 poker run. So come on out to the rally.
It'll be fun for all, and you wouldn't want to miss out.
If you're looking for a higher interest than you get with most bank CDs and savings accounts, Regional Management Corporation has the answer. Right now, we're offering subordinated notes at 6 to 9% interest, available in terms from 30 days to 5 years. Regional Management Corporation has been providing sound investment advice to people in South Carolina for over 15 years. Give us a call and we'll explain how our subordinated notes can earn you more interest. Phone 1-800-853-8011. Regional Management Corporation.
Good news for temperatures, but bad news for the drought.
A lot has happened in the year since September 11th, everything from this week's heightened terror alert to all the talk about going to war with Iraq. Last week in the Oval Office, we asked the president about what's coming next in the war on terror. You must be frustrated, maybe angry. After a year, we still don't have Osama bin Laden.
How do you know that? Look, I don't know whether Osama bin Laden is dead or alive. I don't know that. He's not leading a lot of parades. And he's not nearly the hero that a lot of people thought he was. This is much bigger than one person anyway. This is, we're slowly but surely dismantling and disrupting an al-Qaeda network that hates America. And we will stay on task until we complete the task. I always knew this was a different kind of war, Scott. See, in the old days, you could measure the size and strength of the enemy by counting his tanks or his airplanes and his ships. This is an international manhunt. We're after these people one at a time. They're killers, period.
But have you won the war before you find Osama bin Laden dead or alive?
If he were dead, there's somebody else to replace him. And we would find that person. But slowly but surely, we will dismantle the al-Qaeda network and those who sponsor them and those who harbor them. And at the same time, hopefully lay the seeds for the conditions necessary so that people don't feel like they've got to conduct terror to achieve objectives.
Do you look back on the Afghan campaign with any doubts? Certainly, we've overthrown the Taliban government. Certainly, al-Qaeda has been scattered. But some of the Taliban leaders appear to have gotten away, and there have been many civilian casualties there as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I worry, I'm sad that civilians lost their life, but I understand war. We did everything we could to protect people. When civilians did die, it was because of mistake, certainly not because of intention. We liberated a country for which I'm extremely proud. No, I don't second guess things. Things never go perfect in a time of war.
Are you committed to ending the rule of Saddam Hussein?
I'm committed to regime change.
There are those who have been vocal in their advice against war in Iraq. Some of our allies in the Gulf War, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, for example. Even your father's former national security advisor, Mr. Scowcroft, has written about it in the paper. What is it, in your estimation, that they don't understand about the Iraq question that you do appreciate?
The policy of the government's regime change, Scott, hadn't changed. I get all kinds of advice. I'm listening to the advice. I appreciate the consultations. And we'll consult with a lot of people, but our policy hasn't changed.
On Air Force One, you described the terrorists as evil.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that. But at the same time, many in the Arab world are angry at the United States for political reasons, because of our policy in Israel or our troops in the oil region of the Middle East. Is there any change in foreign policy that you're considering that might reduce Arab anger against the United States?
Well, I'm working for peace in the Middle East. I'm the first president who ever went to the United Nations and publicly declared the need to have a Palestinian state living side by side with Israel in peace. I made it clear that in order for there to be peace, the Palestinians have got to get some leadership that renounces terror and believes in peace and quits using the Palestinian people as pawns. I've also made it very clear to the other Arab nations in the region that they've got responsibilities. If you want peace, they got to work toward it. We're more than willing to work toward it, but they got to work toward it as well. But all this business isn't going to happen as long as a few are willing to blow up the hopes of many. And so we all got to work to fight off terror.
Arafat has to go?
He's been a complete failure as far as I'm concerned, utter disappointment.
There has been some concern over the year about civil liberties.
Yeah.
In fact, a appeals court recently was harsh about your administration's decision to close certain deportation hearings. They said, quote, "A government operating in secrecy stands in opposition to the Constitution."
Mm-hmm.
Where do you draw the line, sir?
I draw the line at the Constitution. We will protect America, but we will do so within the guidelines of the Constitution, the confines of the Constitution, the spirit of the Constitution.
Has there been anything that the Justice Department has brought to you as an idea that you thought, no, that's too far, I don't want to go?
Not that I remember, and I'm pleased with the Justice Department. I think the Attorney General's doing a fine job, by the way. You know, to the extent that our courts are willing to make sure that they review decisions we make, I think that's fine. I mean, that's good, that's healthy, that's part of America.
Franklin Roosevelt said that America should stand in defense of 4 freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, and freedom from fear.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have that today, Mr. President? Freedom from fear?
I think more than we did in retrospect. The fact that we're on alert, the fact that we understand the new circumstances makes us more free from fear than on that fateful day of September the 11th. But we've got more work to do.
And Americans should not live their lives in fear?
I don't think so, no. I think Americans ought to know their government's doing everything possible to help. And obviously, if we get information that relates directly to a particular attack, we'll deal with it. And if we get general background noise about a potential attack, we'll alert people. But there are a lot of good folks working hard to disrupt and deny and run down leads. And the American people need to go about their lives. And it seems like they are.
1 year ago, the president was new on the job with little foreign policy experience. He had wanted to pull the military back from foreign entanglements. Now, on his orders, U.S. forces are engaged around the globe in a war he did not expect, in a world completely changed. I'm Scott Pelley. We'll be back 2 weeks from tonight with another edition of 60 Minutes 2. Still ahead tonight, inside Ground Zero with the firemen and the filmmakers who lived to tell the story, the CBS special presentation of 9/11.
This is a CBS News special report, part of our continuing coverage of 9/11, the day that changed America. Tonight, a presidential address to the nation. From Ground Zero in New York, here is Dan Rather.
Good evening. On a clear, star-kissed night under a quarter moon, President Bush is about to address the nation on this, the anniversary of the attack on America. The president will speak from Ellis Island, where over the years, so many immigrants from so many other countries arrived here in the United States seeking and finding freedom and opportunity. In the background, as the president speaks, will be perhaps the world's best-known symbol of freedom, the Statue of Liberty. Earlier today, President Bush visited all the sites of the 9/11 attacks, the Pentagon, the plane crash site in Pennsylvania, and earlier this evening, he went down to the pit and the Circle of Honor at Ground Zero, just behind me. He placed a wreath in honor of those who died here, and then greeted some of their families. As the president mourned America's losses, he renewed the nation's commitment to winning the war on terror. Tomorrow morning, the president will address the United Nations here in New York, making his case for removing a man he sees as one of the world's leading supporters of terrorism, Iraq's Saddam Hussein. But first, this address tonight to the people of the United States.
Good evening. Good evening. A long year has passed since enemies attacked our country. We've seen the images so many times they are seared on our souls. And remembering the horror, reliving the anguish, reimagining the terror is hard and painful. For those who lost loved ones, it's been a year of sorrow, of empty places, of newborn children who will never know their fathers here on earth. For members of our military, it's been a year of sacrifice and service far from home. For all Americans, it has been a year of adjustment, of coming to terms with the difficult knowledge that our nation has determined enemies and that we are not invulnerable to their attacks. Yet in the events that have challenged us, we've also seen the character that will deliver us. We've seen the greatness of America in airline passengers who defied their hijackers and ran a plane into the ground to spare the lives of others. We've seen the greatness of America in rescuers who rushed up flights of stairs toward peril. And we continue to see the greatness of America in the care and compassion our citizens show to each other. September the 11th, 2001 will always be a fixed point in the life of America. The loss of so many lives left us to examine our own. Each of us was reminded that we are here only for a time. And these counted days should be filled with things that last and matter. Love for our families, love for our neighbors, and for our country. Gratitude for life and to the giver of life. We resolved a year ago to honor every last person lost. We owe them remembrance, and we owe them more. We owe them and their children and our own the most enduring monument we can build, a world of liberty and security made possible by the way America leads and by the way Americans lead our lives. The attack on our nation was also an attack on the ideals that make us a nation. Our deepest national conviction is that every life is precious, because every life is the gift of a Creator who intended us to live in liberty and equality. More than anything else, this separates us from the enemy we fight. We value every life. Our enemies value none, not even the innocent, not even their own. And we seek the freedom and opportunity that give meaning and value to life. There is a line in our time, and in every time, between those who believe that all men are created equal and those who believe that some men and women and children are expendable in the pursuit of power. There is a line in our time and in every time between the defenders of human liberty and those who seek to master the minds and souls of others. Our generation has now heard history's call, and we will answer it. America has entered a great struggle that tests our strength and even more our resolve. Our nation is patient and steadfast. We continue to pursue the terrorists in cities and camps and caves across the earth. We are joined by a great coalition of nations to rid the world of terror. And we will not allow any terrorist or tyrant to threaten civilization with weapons of mass murder. Now and in the future, Americans will live as free people, not in fear and never at the mercy of any foreign plot or power. This nation has defeated tyrants and liberated death camps, raised this lamp of liberty to every captive land. We have no intention of ignoring or appeasing history's latest gang of fanatics trying to murder their way to power. They are discovering, as others before them, the resolve of a great country and a great democracy. In the ruins of two towers, under a flag unfurled at the Pentagon, at the funerals of the lost, we have made a sacred promise to ourselves and to the world. We will not relent until justice is done and our nation is secure. What our enemies have begun, we will finish. I believe there's a reason that history has matched this nation with this time. America strives to be tolerant and just. We respect the faith of Islam, even as we fight those whose actions defile that faith. We fight not to impose our will, but to defend ourselves and extend the blessings of freedom. We cannot know all that lies ahead. Yet we do know that God has placed us together in this moment to grieve together, to stand together, to serve each other and our country. And the duty we have been given, defending America and our freedom, is also a privilege we share. We're prepared for this journey. And our prayer tonight is that God will see us through and keep us worthy. Tomorrow is September the 12th. A milestone is passed, and a mission goes on. Be confident. Our country is strong. And our cause is even larger than our country. Ours is the cause of human dignity, freedom guided by conscience, and guarded by peace. This ideal of America is the hope of all mankind. That hope drew millions to this harbor. That hope still lights our way. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness will not overcome it. May God bless America.
President Bush speaking for about 7 minutes while emphasizing that Americans respect the faith of Islam. He said, and I quote, "Our generation has now heard history's call and we will answer it," which is to say to defeat those who, in the name of Islam, do dastardly deeds. In a not-so-veiled warning to Saddam Hussein, the president said, "And we will not allow any terrorist or tyrant to threaten civilization with weapons of mass murder." And then near the end of the speech, clearly designed for listeners overseas, "We fight not to impose our will, but to defend ourselves and extend the blessings of freedom." This has been a CBS News special report. Coming up on CBS, an encore presentation of 9/11, the extraordinary film that documents the rescue efforts of one firehouse inside the World Trade Center's North Tower. Also, for those of you in the West, Scott Pelley's exclusive interview with President Bush is coming right up on 60 Minutes too. For CBS News, I'm Dan Rather. For some of you in the West, I'll be back in just a moment with our expanded edition of tonight's CBS Evening News.
CBS is proud to bring you this special presentation, 9/11. It is an historic eyewitness account from inside Ground Zero. This intimate portrayal of a life-and-death struggle for survival contains some strong language. 9/11 is presented by Nextel and will have limited interruptions.
Good evening. I'm Tim Donahue, President and CEO of Nextel Communications. Welcome to this special presentation of 9/11. 6 months ago, we played a small role in bringing this remarkable film to you. Tonight, on the one-year anniversary of this unprecedented national tragedy, we are reminded of the extraordinary bravery that we witnessed in the face of the terrorist attacks against this great country. At Nextel, during the past year, we have seen an even more inspiring resolve among the frontline defenders we support: firefighters, police, emergency rescue personnel, and government agencies, all resolute in their dedication to ensure our protection. Today, all over America, we honor the memory of the heroes and victims of 9/11. As we remember, let us also salute those who work every day to keep us safe through their acts of heroism, both great and small. On behalf of Nextel Communications and CBS, thank you for joining us.
Tonight, a new chapter in the most important story of our time.
At the World Trade Center, we took a hit on that last explosion.
One firehouse.
We gotta get everybody out! Let's go!
3 filmmakers.
I saw the second one hit the other tower.
In a place you've never seen.
Where are you, Steve?
On a day you'll never forget.
Command post in Tower 1. Evacuate the building.
9/11.
I'm Robert De Niro. Last year, 2 French brothers, Jules and Gideon Naudet, set out to make a film about a rookie New York fireman. They had no idea they would become eyewitnesses to the defining event of our time, but that they would capture the courage of those who faced hell on earth, and the miracle of a lucky few who survived. The story begins last summer. With the help of a friend and firefighter, James Hanlon, the Naudet brothers were allowed to follow the men of Engine 7 Ladder 1. It's one of the oldest firehouses in New York, just a few blocks from here. For months, the material they shot was routine, uneventful. September 11th was no different, until 8:46 that morning. Engine 7 Ladder 1 was one of the first to arrive at the World Trade Center. Jules Naudet was with them, and his camera never stopped rolling. It's the only footage from inside Tower 1. What you're going to see has been edited with great care. Still, some of the language is rough. After all, these men had never been tested like this before. This is the story of how the city's bravest rose to their greatest challenge on September 11th.